What's up? It's Way Up with Angela Yee. I'm Angela Yee, and Jasmine from the Jasmine brand is here. And we have somebody who I adore. Ameriie is here with us.
Hi, ladies. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, first of all, you have a new book out, so congratulations.
Thank you.
You will do great things. This is a children's book with amazing artwork. Can you tell us about the artist?
Thank you. Raisa Figueroa has beautiful, beautiful work. She's really great with texture and colors. I know you guys can't see it right now, but she's, we looked through, my editor and I, we looked through lots of different artist portfolios, and we were kind of figuring out what we wanted to do regarding the approach. We just went and looked through tons of portfolios because no one would have exactly what we wanted exactly, because we also want to leave room for the artist. But so we had to look at just like technique and color and texture, and her spreads, like the 2-page spreads, her color, her texture, the balance that she has between grounded reality and the abstract, and that fantastical, magical element. It was perfect. Like the trees, the details, so gorgeous. Because I really wanted to make sure that the story felt grounded, but because there's a message that's kind of abstract, I wanted to feel very magical too, and classic. So I didn't want the artwork to feel too trendy or of the moment.
Right.
So it could be something that can sit on your shelf and be gifted for a book, a baby shower gift, or graduation.
I have a 1.5-year-old, and I was like, "Oh, this is perfect for her." But she likes to grab, so I have
You got to be careful.
You know what?
And I feel like these
the
are almost
page out.
prints. Like if you took these out, these could be like prints. Like
Yes.
it's really like this is really like art.
And if you hear a child, that's River.
Yes, that's River.
He's 4 years old,
He's
right?
4 now. Yeah.
That's Ameries.
He's not actually, sometimes he can be shy, but he's actually pretty gregarious. He's like, hi, hello, hi. And he's basically like me and his granddad. And we can just like spark a conversation with someone we don't know. And he's like that.
And one of the interesting things too is, how was it for you having a child in the house during the pandemic?
That was kind of like, I guess in a sense, it was like all we knew really. Because I was like right around. There were some things that were tough. Like, for instance, he was like 16 months old right before lockdown happened. And we kind of put ourselves in a way where we kind of locked ourselves down beforehand. Because I remember we were going to get him in swimming because I took him to the pool for the first time. And I was like, he seems like he's not afraid. I don't want to mess anything up. Let's get someone to help him swim. But then it was like, oh, this coronavirus. And I was like, I think we still should, because so many kids drown and you have to make sure, you know what I mean? It's like the biggest danger. But then no one was really familiar with it. So we canceled that. I canceled some things early, and I felt a little weird at the time because I was like, I know we had this photo shoot, and it's supposed to be like a group ensemble. I don't think we should be breathing on each other. Something's telling me to cancel.
Right.
And so right when I did that week, everyone started canceling a lot of things. And it was, I kind of felt like we were kind of in a cocoon. I'm a homebody anyway, and so is my husband. So it was just, it wasn't really that different. I don't know what that says about like our social life, but like it wasn't that different. But it was really nice to like have that family time. The main thing though with a child is that I was like, he's seeing all these masks. I don't want him to not see people's expressions, and I also don't want to teach him from an early age. Don't touch that. Don't get too close to that person. Dangerous. Because I was like, I don't know how that might mess with his psyche as he gets older.
Yeah.
So that was tough. That was pretty tough, especially because sometimes we would go out to the grocery store and he might see a kid and get really excited because he's an only child. And you could tell the parents are like a little tense. And I'm kind of like, what should we do? We don't want to
Right.
You're like, don't touch that kid.
Right.
Yeah. We're watching for them, but we want them to feel kind of natural. So it was a little tough.
Right. Yeah, because I always think about that because, he's so young and the majority of his life was so far kind of spent in lockdown.
Yes. And I was like, oh, he really needs to see people's mouths. And he would see us and he would see, people sometimes like outside running and that kind of thing. But I think that is one of the things that a lot of kids kind of missed out on, which is kind of important.
Right.
Seeing expressions. Did you guys notice that you kind of smized a lot? Did you like go extra with your eye expressions with your mask? Did you ever do that? Just in general, walking around to the grocery store.
I had my baby during the pandemic, and so she was preemie. So she was in NICU, and we all had to wear masks. And I was like, "Can she tell that I'm smiling?" Because she didn't. All she saw was masks. Like that's all she saw forever.
Yeah, I think I just was. I still had the same facial expressions. It was nice not to wear makeup.
That was what. Yeah, that was actually
like, oh,
good.
just go
I'll
outside.
still do that sometimes because I'm just like, let me just put this on.
Let me put a mask on instead of
You
put
know,
on
it's
some
kinda like,
makeup.
this
People not probably recognize you all.
Right.
Sometimes. But I feel like if I put on glasses, it's like I feel really. That doesn't work though.
It doesn't work.
I'm always like, how did they know? And he's like, because you're just you with glasses on. I'm like, but I wouldn't be able to tell myself.
I saw on social media the other day they were giving you your props too when they were just talking about women, singers who have classic songs.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, I don't go on social media that much.
Right.
So I miss a lot. But that's so nice.
Yeah, it was. They were giving you your props. You were one of the women that they talked about. And then I was like, this is great. When they told me you were coming with this book, you would do great things. One page I love, you would do strange things. Many may not understand. I think that's an important message.
Yes. And I feel like a lot of what I was saying in the book was not just for kids, but good for adults as well. Because like so many of us, we're all individuals. We have all the things that we want to do. But it's really easy to have that tamped down by society or other people, especially depending on your circle of friends or associates. It's easy for us to kind of try to feel like we need to become more like everybody else. And I think that our strength is just leaning into what makes us different. Not saying that, there's some people out there who are like, but I'm not weird or interesting. I'm just regular and basic. That's okay too.
Right.
Just being you, just being yourself. I think that's important.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like people try too hard to be different.
Yeah,
because be yourself.
And if
you
you're
don't have to go extra at being, If
you're doing that, then you're still being influenced because what's happening is instead of you just being authentic to yourself, that may be different, then really what you're doing is you're still choosing an identity based on your reaction to what everyone else thinks. And then you're trying to be contrary, but that means you still are basing yourself off of somebody else.
I can't stand when people are contrarians just for the sake of
contrarians.
I mean, okay.
What inspired this particular book in general?
This, I always wanted to write a picture book, but I felt just for me, I was like, I will know what to say when I have a child.
Okay.
Until I have a child, I don't think, I had ideas, but I was like, I don't think I'm going to really know what I want to say or even what's needed until I have that moment. And then when I did have that moment, there was so much that I wanted to say, so much that I wanted to tell him just about some of the basics, but in a very broad stroke way. You know what I mean? And then I also wanted to tell him that life is going to be amazing. It's going to be a great journey, but it's going to still have its ups and downs. But it's really important that I let him know that he already comes equipped. Because I do believe that some adults need to hear that too. A lot of us do. That whatever we're going through, I really, really, really believe that we already know the answer. When we're looking for advice and we're like, oh, I don't know what to do about this situation. What should I do, girl? It's like, you already know. Half the time, actually 90% of the time, 95% of the time, we're really just asking permission to do the thing that we know we need to do. We just need someone else to be like, this is what you should do. Because the minute they say something that we don't feel like we should do, is like, this is what you should do. And it's like, but I don't know though. Because because you already know.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes we ask people knowing the answer. And we also know what we shouldn't do.
Yes.
This is true.
So we just have to listen to ourselves. And I think if you hone your ear for yourself, for your own voice, it will rarely steer you wrong.
You said in here, listen for that teeny voice.
Yes.
That's always been inside.
Yes.
So, Amerie, tell us some experiences with your teeny voice that's inside because you had, a really long career. You started off so young, too.
Kind of.
In this business. You were young.
No, I wasn't a teenager though.
You were 20.
No. I graduated from college already. So, but it was early 20s.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is really, I do look at people and they're 28. I'm like, oh, it's your baby. You don't know about life yet.
But do you feel like at that point, because like you said, listen, sometimes we need that other person to be like, no, that's what you should do. Or maybe disagree so we can further prove why we should do what we were planning to do. Did you feel like you had that confidence when you were starting in the business?
I felt like I did just because I always knew what I wanted and what I didn't want. And sometimes I think that took people by surprise a little bit because I seem like a nice person. You know what I mean? I feel like when I work with people, I'm nice, but I am also I do know myself and I know what I want and what I don't want. And so I think for me, it was about just standing firm in that. Like, you know what I mean? Because, you know, for instance, like I went to a magazine shoot. Like I love to be leggy and like I love to wear whatever I wanted to wear. But specifically when I was doing like a men's magazine shoot, I was like, okay, I'll do this. That's cool. I don't know how I feel about it, but I don't want any bikinis. I don't want any bikinis. And then when I showed up to the shoot, there was nothing but bikinis.
You're like,
and I'm like,
hello?
it's not that I don't ever want to wear them, but if I wear one, it's because I said I wanted to wear it. But I'm not like your product. I'm not your thing. I am in control of my sexuality and myself. And if I'm saying I don't want to wear that, then I'm not going to wear that. And so if I hadn't been adamant about it or confident enough in myself, I would have just been like, oh,
okay, this is all they have.
But I was like, no.
Yeah, because there's creative
I mean?
ways because, like you said, leggy, beautiful, like shorts, you know, they could have definitely incorporated that and still made it nice and respected what it is that you said, but it still can be confident, sexy. It just doesn't have to be a bikini.
Yes, and so many people will always have things that they need to tell you that you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to wear that. And I'm not even saying anything's wrong with wearing the bikini because if I was like, okay, guys, I have this idea for this bikini shoot, then that's fine.
But that particular
your
shoot.
choice,
But it's your choice.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference is that sometimes, especially with, I was talking to someone, they were like, why is it that every time women get to a certain age or a certain point, I just want to embrace my womanhood now. He's like, why does that always equal nudity every time? I was like, well, there is power in like your sexuality, but you have to own it. And even though people feel like sometimes that they are owning it, it's usually some man behind it. Not to say that just because you're a man, you can't have good ideas, but it's not the same thing as like owning it yourself.
Yeah, and I think also embracing that can come with you being confident in yourself. Because I do also see a lot of people when they post, it's not what they really look like. And so I think it's important also to not feel like you have to
look a certain way.
Always like Photoshop and do this and sometimes like people just start to like, your face, like there's those face tuning apps and you're like everybody's face you could tell when they're using the app because it kind of looks
very similar.
All similar.
I do think that beauty trends come and go, but there is like a certain similarity that you do see, which it becomes like one kind of beauty. But then, but it's hard to get around that because we're so used to seeing it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Everyone is
I just want people to know how beautiful you are without all that. Because what you want is people to see you in person and be like, you look better in person.
But you know what the thing is? I will say this. Unfortunately, cameras have gotten so like... Right?
Oh, like there's too much.
I mean, all the pores. People, it's like even if you were like, okay, we're not going to do any zhuzhing, because I think some zhuzhing is good. Because here's the thing, like my friends and I were having a conversation about that. They were like, don't want to over zhuzh. I was like, look, at least zhuzh to the point where you look like yourself in person, because our eyes are not like 4K eyes. You're seeing I was watching this show and I was like, I was
every
like, this
little
is terrible,
thing.
but it's because you just see more than you would with the naked eye. And so you have to kind of get things back a little bit more analog looking so people don't look so harsh. So I'm not mad at that.
Okay.
It's a tricky balance.
What is a balance?
Because you like, I want to look like by myself, but I don't want, this bump that I have right now to be, to show up.
Yes.
You kept talking about that bump. It's gone.
Well, I don't, it's still kind of here. But I would like to, I would not like it there in my pictures. You know what I mean? But
you can zap that out.
Yeah. But then some people that would change the whole, and people are starting to look alike. Everyone's getting has the same look.
It's just the same eyebrow shape, the same the same eye shape, or trying to do the eyeliner the same way. And I do think that there's something to like embracing your individual beauty, because their beauty comes in so many different looks.
It does.
Do you know what I mean?
And how did having River change your life, your son?
I became a lot more empathetic. Like I think I was always empathetic. Like I was always like I was the person like in high school where someone was like, she told me once, I didn't like you when I first met you. And I was like, why? And she was like, because I was like, she's so fake. She's too nice. I know it's fake. And then she became one of our best friends. Like she's my sister's friend. And I was like, no, but I am earnest like that, because I am a nerd. And most bookish, nerdish people are really nice and are just like earnest. But I also I did have a lot of empathy, but not as empathetic. Like I definitely wasn't a kid person. I mean, I would see a lady like getting her stroller together in the parking lot, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for her. Like, your life is over. It's over. I was like, oh my goodness.
Right.
I was like, no dream crusher for me, not now. And so I was afraid of that. I was really afraid of having a child one day, because I was like, I don't know, what if I turn into a different person?
Do you feel like the same person?
No, I don't think so, because I think I am a lot more empathetic. And by that, I just mean, like, some people have a child and they're like, okay, I found this love that I never knew before. And I felt that too. But I think mostly, like, I was like, oh, I understand, like, the spiritual teaching. Like, I look at my son, like, I love him so much. But now I see that oneness in everybody, like a stranger. And I could say, like, I love a stranger. I loved people before. But now someone was saying something, and maybe my first initial instinct was like, I don't know if I want to do that. It's just kind of annoying. I don't want to do that. And then I was like, I just saw my son, and I was like, everybody is precious. Everyone is just as special and deserving of just as much love. And so I was like, this is that, like, when they say love a stranger, it's not like, oh, just be nice. It's like, no, I see you, and I love you as, like, we're the same. Like, the thing that's inside of us, like, I love you, and I really do love you.
It's like kind of inexplicable.
Yes. That we're one. That's the spiritual teaching we're familiar with, but I understood it on a whole other level.
You know what I love that you just said a minute ago too, about being like bookish and being a nerd, because I've always been a nerd too.
You're still a nerd.
I'm still a nerd. That's what I've always been a nerd. But I embrace that, and I feel like more people do need to embrace that, because you have your book club. I have a book club too.
Oh, wonderful. Wait, I think I do know about that.
Yes, and I'm an ambassador for the New York Public Library, and they have an amazing children's library too that you need to go to. And because they have like the original Winnie the Pooh books there. Oh, they have a lot of the original books, and you can see like the dolls in the museum. By the way, you should bring me over. He will love it. They'll give you like a nice tour of that. But I feel like people need to embrace that more. Everybody's trying to. I feel like being a nerd is the coolest thing that you could be. Like,
it wasn't cool when I was younger, though. Was it cool for you when you all were younger to be like smart or being a nerd and stuff?
No, when I was growing up, it wasn't. I remember having this conversation with my parents, because I always like got along with everybody, but I never was like in a clique, because that's not my thing. And but at the same time, like when I was in middle school, I was like teased a little bit, not like heavily, but enough to where like you're not bullied, but you're not, and everyone, but you somehow end up on the wrong side of the joke all the time. So that was me, because I was so nice all the time, right? And so I remember telling my parents, I was like, I don't know what to do. It's like, I guess I'm just a nerd. My dad was like, you're not a nerd. I was like, I am. Just face it. I faced it. You have to face it too.
So dramatic. I love it.
So dramatic.
Wait, is your sister, so would you consider Angela, was she a nerd too?
Angela was not. See, I was the nerd. I was I was a nerd in my books. Angela's academically just as great as I was, but my style was
She's an entertainment attorney, guys.
Yes.
Amazing.
I've met her before.
Actually, you used her. She's Jay Electronica's attorney. Okay.
And she was, amazing. But her social life was more like I'm the one who will have one friend at a time, or I'm like by myself in the library and I'm like nerding out over something. Angela is walking down the hallway with 6 other girls behind her. And you just hear you just see the fans blowing. And she's like really cool. You know what I mean? But I was also like the better fighter though. See, we never really had to like really, really fight, but we did get into a couple scuffles because sometimes people test you. That's a whole other conversation, but sometimes you get tested in high school, especially people are like, oh, they're like the little weak girls or whatever, so they're going to try you. And so whenever that would happen, but then my nerd part would shed because I was skinny, but I was extremely strong.
You were scrappy.
And I was scrappy. So that's we put the books aside for a second.
Do you worry about things like bullying since I know you said it wasn't necessarily bullied, but I think with social media, it's a whole nother level too.
For kids, you mean?
Yes.
Or like for grown-ups too?
For kids and grown-ups too. Because that's, sometimes that's not, and like you said, you're not even really on social media. But do you think about that too? Because I think having a kid, that also is hard to think about what they're exposed to when it comes to Instagram, social, online bullying, and having to deal with things like that in real life.
We haven't, that's not something we had to cross yet, but I think you do have to, I think it surrounds, one is who's surrounding your children, like what school they go to and what kind of school they go to. So that's one thing, but you can't always control that. So I think the thing you have to let them know is give him a sense of self early. And so we do that for River. So I tell River, like, you're amazing. I love you and I love your personality. I don't want other kids that you're playing with or that you encounter or that you might see on YouTube, because however much you limit it, they're going to see things.
Yeah.
We don't even watch TV around him.
Wow.
Or stuff. We don't watch TV around him because it's none of it's ever appropriate for them, like ever, right? And so, and then the one time we did, I'll tell you about that. But the one time we did watch TV, the one time I was like, well, let's just get our laptop here. He's doing Blippi. Let's watch it. We were watching Manifest or something, and it's just an innocuous scene. All right, remember the scene where the guy like robbed the bank? And they were like, why'd you rob the bank? And he was trying to get the lockbox for his dad or something. Okay, he just said, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. And he like clocked the other guy. No, River's never seen anything like that. You know what I mean? He never saw. So he was just watching thing, and then he starts, give us something, give us the. He's like, what's on the laptop?
Right.
I didn't realize. So then the man punched the other man, and River was like, he was just frozen, like, what happened? And then he's like, it's not about the money. But the funny thing is, later when things would get a little excited, we'd be like, oh my goodness, wasn't the funny story I'm relating to his dad? Or River's getting excited. And then he just would start grabbing stuff and throwing a bag or whatever and saying, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. Because what he learned was,
in that one minute,
when things get excited, something with, it's not about the money. It's not about them. And it could be about he's excited to go out. So kids learn everything.
Yeah, they do.
Did you think, okay, so I just want to say this. Because I know it's devastating, but it's also like kind of funny. What did you think when he did that? Because it's like,
I was crushed.
Okay.
I was like, hashtag parenting fail. One, he saw a grown up punch another grown up.
Right.
So his eyes were like this big. He's like,
because at some point kids are going to see things and you can't protect them from everything. But
and they are going to see it. But see, the thing is, you got to give them the proper perspective. So first, grown-ups are great. Mm-hmm. Then we got to a point where I was like, okay, here's the thing. Some grown-ups are actually
not great,
naughty.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to tell him, like, it's not about bad people and good people. It's people do bad things or good things. But there are some grown-ups who are snatchers. Mm-hmm. I don't want to, and you don't want to tell your kid that. So it's all about that. You have to tell them the truth about everything, but you have to like know when to roll it out. He definitely didn't need to be 2 and seeing someone get punched.
That out. You'd be like, what is happening?
It's not about the money. It's like,
because some people would have put that on TikTok.
Yeah, no, my daughter be watching stuff. I heard that. I'm like, she should not be watching, because she gets into it. She'll be like,
because they can't really discern the difference between what is real and what's not. And they learn everything.
She loves Family Feud, though. She loves Steve Harvey.
You told me that.
That's okay. Man,
that's fine. Family Feud.
But they learn everything from you. So you have to even things like, oh, I hate it when this happens. No.
Don't say.
I'm like, I really dislike that.
Yeah, you don't want to use the word hate.
They just learn everything from you. You know what I mean?
They're like little sponges.
They're sponges. And you're basically teaching. You have a child. What you're doing is you're wiring them.
Yep.
You are wiring them for how they're going to like, what kind of relationships they're going to have.
How they communicate.
Mm-hmm. How they deal with their own anger. Like that whole like breathe and take a breath. We have to remember to do that because that's not my natural. When I get upset, that's not what I would do. So we have to like, or mommy's upset right now, but I'm going to deal with it. And so there's so much responsibility.
Yeah, that is. Or another human.
And it's wonderful. It's wonderful, but it's also, but then I think that's why we grow and we become better people too.
Right.
Like I definitely ate better because it's only so long you can hide chips and hide stuff.
Jasmine's like,
No, I don't give my daughter meat.
But in front of her, you still eat.
But and she be like,
so one day she is going to be like, let me have that.
Can I have
so
a
you
chip?
just got to think about it.
Yeah.
Now listen, Consequence sent me the song that you were on with him. How did you end up on the track with Consequence and Rick Ross?
Because Cons basically just called me and he was just like, hey, I have this thing, I want to do it, and like I've known him for a really long time, and so to me it was just like, yeah.
It feels like it can't be that easy to get Amerie to just get on a track.
Because you know what? I had like a couple things, like even from when I first came out, my whole thing with like doing like features. And I think, I'm like, did I ever charge? I can't really remember now, like if the label was involved. But normally I don't like to do that. And I don't.
Not?
Because I feel like as an artist, like if I want to do something with you, it's because I like your art and I want to just collaborate. Mm-hmm. And if you want to collaborate with me, like it feels funny to me for someone to be like, I want you to do this thing and they pay me for it. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying it's wrong or anything. It's just for me. I'm just like 2 artists coming together to create something great. And then you can, of course, figure out royalties and all that stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I think things can feel a little bit like, you want to get such and such on, it's going to be this much money. And it's like, I mean, are we like selling groceries? Are we selling watches? Or is this like art and creating art?
But sometimes people have a budget for that purpose, and they want to make sure that you get, some money for your time. Because I think it's also
that's true.
Because
and I don't like, and the label, sometimes the label gets on things, and it's like, you feel like certain things are handled. I won't go into it too much, but you think certain things are handled and an artist is taken care of, and then just like, oh my goodness, they didn't like take care of that person like how they're supposed to.
Right.
So you know what I mean? So
because that's even like if somebody asked you to come do this, be on a panel, you would want them to pay you because that's your time.
Maybe she would.
Yes.
Would you?
No, I would but I feel like I'm not creating a piece of art though.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? But it's you're right. It is different because you do want to. That's true. Like if someone's like, "Oh, can you come sing at this event?"
I messed it up for people in the future.
Yesterday's price
almost got a
is
free
not
feature,
today's
guys.
price.
Sorry.
Yeah. that Angela
get Angela Rogers on the line to get the contract right.
No, but like I guess what it is like. I guess it's like how it feels, right?
Okay.
Because if someone said, "Oh, they want you to do this thing," like I'm either going to be like, "Yay" or "nay,"
right?
But I'm not going to say, "Well, how much are they paying first?" That's not the first.
That's fine.
thing. I guess that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so,
and people might ask you, like, "Hey, I want you to get on this track. How much do you charge?"
Yeah, people have asked that.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like I have to want to actually do it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I was like, I don't really want to do too many collaborations, really. Right. Because you can't always control a lot of things, and sometimes you do, but yeah, I just don't do too many of them.
All right, so consequence
something to think about, Angela.
Sorry,
because,
Well, why did you stop music, or did you stop? Did you just pause it?
I kind of paused it.
Okay.
I did. I released 4 a.m. Mulholland, and then I released After 4 a.m., which is like a project together. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, okay, let me feel things out. But I'm really leaning a lot into writing because I didn't technically announce. We didn't announce it yet, but I do have an adult novel coming as well.
Oh, I was going to ask you more.
Revising.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's done.
Wait, what is it called?
I can't say yet because we didn't announce it.
It's an adult
novel.
It's adult. Yes.
Okay.
And it was a lot of revisions. It was almost like 600 pages. And so I was like, oh my goodness. My mom was like, you have to go to sleep. I finished the revisions when I was at their house, and I was like, it's going to be an all-nighter, guys. It's going to be an all-nighter. So then everyone's all like coming in. Then my dad's like, how's it going? Do you need some water? I'm like, I'm good.
Sweet.
My mom's like, you really should sleep, Amity. And I'm like, I can't, Mom. Angela's like, well, because Angela was with me too. She was like, well, if you have to stay up, I guess I'll sit on the couch and like be on the phone or whatever while you're doing it. I'm like, look, everybody.
I love it.
Y'all don't have to
They're
all
supportive.
stay up
while I'm writing.
I'm up. And I was up till the sun came down, but I got it in on time. So I have, some more coming. I have more picture books
it is
coming.
A fictional novel?
It is a novel. Yes, fiction. And I have more picture books.
I'm
but I also have
excited.
more adult novels coming as well. So I've got a lot.
So you pause on the music, so you're focusing on writing.
Yeah, because it's like I have to be in a zone, and when I'm writing, I like to write all the time.
Well, yeah, when do you write your best? Are you like early in the? Well, I know you had to pull an all-nighter, but thank you. I know you so easily distracted. I know that you had to pull an all-nighter, but do you write best early in the morning, or in the middle of the day, or at night, or what's your kind of writing style?
Before River was born, it was like all day, the whole time. I would just write everywhere, all day. Hotel lobby, I'm writing. After that, like you realize you just get tired, like later on. You know what I mean? Or you need to decompress. So now, really, it'll be during the day. Morning is great, but during the day is great. Nighttime, not so much anymore, because I feel like even if I feel like I have the time, it's like that's the time I'm reading for the book club to choose which other books I want to choose, reading for just things that I want to read, catching up on a show.
Right. Yeah.
That
Nighttime
doesn't
Being regular, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Watching TV.
Doing things with your husband.
Then I try to do
laid up
language.
watching
I was
TV.
doing language. I do like try to learn my language at night. So like for 30 minutes or 45 minutes a night, I'm like learning.
You really keep yourself busy.
Oh my God.
You know what?
You are a nerd.
I'm a nerd.
I love it.
I love it.
Because some people will be like, "Oh, I'm bored," and like.
There's no
I never
reason.
wanted him to. No. Do you know a second language?
Right.
Do you know a third language? Right. Do you know Kung Fu? There's so
Not
many.
Kung Fu.
There's so many.
Out of all the things.
No, I was like, there's some Shaolin places. I was like, I need. Because I always wanted to learn.
And you like to fight too, so she want to know Kung Fu.
Yes, I want. There's a lot of things that I want to do, but I'm just saying, there's too many things in life that you can do.
To be bored.
If
not
you're
to be
bored, it just means you're not being imaginative enough. But with the things that you can do.
Is writing your first love now over music?
Writing has always been my first love.
Okay.
I will say that. Like that I wrote since I was 7.
Okay.
So I would write staple stories. So when my mom was like, actually, when I went into music, she said, well, what about writing? I thought you were, going to write. And I was like, I can do that too, Mommy. I can do that at any age, Mommy. But right now, I need to get on the stage.
Show these legs.
That's crazy because I was an English major and I always wanted to be a writer from when I was young also.
Really?
We're like nerd
so do you
twins.
still want to do it?
Yes, I am. I'm going to.
You just do it. Just start.
I have a book club I can go to when I'm ready.
Yes, just start. The thing that I recommend for starting out is just going online, learning as much about craft as you can. There's so many people want to write at least one book, and I think the thing you should do is just start.
Right, I agree with that. I have some stuff done.
Okay, I'm learning some things about you, Angela. I did not know you were a nerd.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like my whole life, and I'm proudly a nerd. I have no problem with that.
There's nothing wrong with being nerds. The climate's a lot more hospitable for nerds.
Yeah. It's a little bit more lucrative too.
Yeah. Hey, you want to make some money? Be a nerd.
Yes.
What about tech? Are you into tech at all? Like, can you?
Do you mean as far as like the new technology and like, am I excited about it or do I
do you know how to do things? Do you use a lot of different apps? Are you like?
Where's your phone, first of all? It's in your bag?
It's in my bag, yeah. I turned it off.
Good for you.
I don't like to have, my notifications used to be turned off at like 7. Now my notifications are off at 5.
So you're one of those people that we get the message back from, this person has silenced.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That girl. Love it.
But I didn't even know that it did that until I was like texting my friend and he had that. And I was like, ooh, I'm sorry, am I bothering you? I was like, what is this? I was like, wait, is that how you're able to make sure you're staying focused?
Yep.
And he's like, yes. His name's David. It's David Yee. Shout out to David Yee. Socialite. He has his own beauty line. He's a writer. He has a YA book coming.
You said his last name is Yee?
Yee.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't even know it.
Korean cousin. And so he had his notification. I'm like, so is that how you're able to juggle? And I was like, you know what? My notifications are going to go off earlier, but I will have to put the phone away because it is a distraction. Like I used to be able to read like a whole Harry Potter type book in like 3 days. And now every 15 pages, I'm like, oh, maybe I should check this.
Yeah.
Maybe I should check online.
That is true.
Like this book?
You can't even watch a movie or a TV show without looking at your phone. And then sometimes you're like, I missed everything. I got to rewind.
Can you guys watch a movie?
Yes, I can. I purposely will put my phone away to be able to do it.
Somehow the arc is too, I'm getting nerdy again, but it's almost like, because my husband was like, we watched two episodes of 2 shows. I'm like, yeah, but the arc is like this. So you got the beginning, everything's coming quicker to me. But a movie, you're going to have 20 minutes of like act 1 and
you really are a writer.
Yes, I am.
I don't watch a movie and think act 1.
Yeah.
I can't even watch movies and have fun anymore because now I'm like, this is good. Oh, I see how they're setting that up. He's going to be the foil. Oh, now we just enter act 2. Oh, the midpoint reveal. He's like, I'm like, but I can't sit through a whole movie because I almost feel like it's too long.
What about kids' movies now? You got to watch kids' movies with River.
River doesn't really watch.
Because he don't watch TV like that.
He doesn't watch anything yet. And then the things that he would watch, it'd be like Blippi or dinosaurs. I'm like, River, make sure it's educational. What's happening? No, they are. They have but he knows all the construction vehicles.
What about turning this into a little cartoon or a little series?
I mean, I am open to all of those things, and I'm always keeping those in mind.
Bring the deal.
Okay.
And I'm always keeping IP in mind.
Okay.
But it's a great, like we have an audiobook, and that's amazing. Like they really did their thing. It's like it's not just the music, it's like soundscape. So it
like meditative.
It's like it's kind of meditative vibes. Too, yeah. We went through some different sounds, but they were great at putting like all the different stuff together. They made the water sounds when he's splashing in the water. We added some of River's voice in there. So they were just the team. They just created such a beautiful experience with the audiobook.
Is this River in the book?
It's not. It's a representation of River. That is his outfit from top to bottom. Actually,
basically,
right?
River Jason.
So it represents him, but it doesn't he doesn't look like River. But
right.
It is for River. This was a message for River, and it's for anyone.
That's amazing. That's like iconic for him. And
I am working on something that has his name in it, though.
Okay.
I was like, okay, hold on. I'm gonna do something River that is you kind of. I don't know if I want the character to look like him. I don't know if I'm superstitious or something, but
okay.
You know
what made you decide to name him River also?
That's just a name we just really liked. We really liked that name. I love that it's a water name. Lenny always felt like water to me. His color was always blue. My favorite color is blue. I loved the feel of it, that element.
Because it's hard to come up with a name.
It is.
It can be, and I love, there's so many names. One name I really liked was Jesus.
Okay.
And Lenny was like, I'm not Latino. Okay. And so he was like, everyone's going to think that he's like, I was like, no.
we
like,
would.
We're not Irish, but you have, I'm like, Shaquille O'Neal is not Irish. Or even if, Jonathan or,
We like River.
I like Jesus.
No, that's fine. I'm saying we like River too.
I love River the best.
Okay,
but I also did like Jesus. And for a girl, I also liked Valentina.
Okay.
For a boy, I also liked Angel. My husband was like, "What?" Again.
It's a theme here.
It's a theme.
What's going on?
And I was like, but I love that name. I love Angel as a boy's name.
Okay.
Love. Okay. But I love River the best.
Angela would have loved that, your sister.
Yeah, she was kind of like, why is my name not in anything? Like if we have a girl, why wouldn't her name be in there? And I was like, Lenny was just like, I don't know if I want that to be.
Well, Amerie, thank you so much for coming through, and I hope that we get to see you more. I'm excited for your new book, too.
And I would love to see you more.
Yes.
I would love to just come and chat.
Whenever you want.
Whatever.
We are here, and you have your book club. Maybe we'll do some type of joint something.
Yeah, I would love that. What's the name of your book club?
It's just an Angela Yee's book club. Mm-hmm. Okay. But we can do something. Maybe we'll do it at the library.
I would love that. And thanks for putting me on to the children's library as well.
Yeah, you guys should go. Let me know if you want to go. I'll set up the tour.
I also have to round back to Angela because Angela's going to be like, you literally ended the interview on why my name wouldn't be your daughter's name. So let me just say, I love my sister. She's my baby sister, but I'm so proud of her.
Yeah,
and I love Angela's name. Angela's like Angel.
Hey.
Right? Yeah, Angela.
I love it too.
So, yes.
Put our name in there.
Yes.
That's funny.
All right. Well, Amerie, thank you again so much. Nerds unite.
Nerds unite. No, we have to like this. Truly nerdy.
There are some nerds.